Welcome back to another one of my videos. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Lotta, and today I'm going to show you how to make these delicious blackberry yogurt slices. Now, I recently got a square tin and I've been absolutely obsessed with it, so I've been baking a bunch of different types of slices. And I wanted to do something similar to the mandarin slices that I've made in a previous video. So I kind of switched it up a little bit and I made a almond base for my dough. And then I added a sour cream yogurt filling with the blackberries, and then of course our blackberry glaze on top. So if you want to see how I made these, stick around and let's get right into it. Now, as per usual, we're going to start by making our dough. So for that, you're going to need 100 grams of sugar with a pinch of salt and 1 package of vanilla sugar, or just a good splash of vanilla extract. 2 room temperature eggs, 100 milliliters each of milk and natural oil. Any oil really works, but you'd want one that's a little bit more neutral in flavor, like canola or vegetable. 150 grams of flour, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and 30 grams of ground almonds. Now, this dough is really easy to make and it comes together pretty fast. So we're going to start by just whisking together our eggs, sugar, salt, and vanilla for about 5 minutes to get it super nice and fluffy. Then we're simply going to pour in our 2 wet ingredients and let that mix together really quickly before we quickly fold in our dry ingredients. Now that our eggs are super fluffy like this, we can add in our oil and our milk and give that one more quick mix. Now the last step is to just really quickly incorporate our dry ingredients. Now if you want, you can also add in any other flavorings like lemon or orange or anything else that you think would go good with your cake. I'm happy with how my dough is like this, so I'm just going to transfer this into my pre-lined tin. Now our cake can wander into the oven that's been preheated to 180 degrees Celsius or 360 degrees Fahrenheit for about 15 to 20 minutes, or until the top is nice and golden brown. Now for this filling, you're going to need 200 milliliters of heavy whipping cream, 200 grams each of yogurt and of sour cream. If you don't want to use sour cream, that's totally okay. Just use 400 grams of yogurt. You're also going to need 25 grams of powdered sugar, 1 good splash of vanilla extract, 5 grams of gelatin, and of course a good splash of water to go with that. And then roughly 350 grams of blackberries that you've washed and dried off. Now I already went ahead and set a couple of my blackberries aside because I want to use these to decorate. We're going to start by mixing the water with our gelatin and just giving that a quick mix. Now we're going to set our gelatin aside for about 5 to 10 minutes just to let it bloom. Now in the meantime, we can already whisk up our whipping cream until we have some nice stiff peaks, and we can already mix together the rest of our ingredients except for our blackberries. Now that our gelatin is super thick like this, we can move on. So the next thing we need to do with our gelatin is heat it up on medium or low heat just until it's become a liquid again. Now you can do that either on the stove or in the microwave, either way works. You just want to make sure to not overheat it. Now that our gelatin is nice and liquid like this, we need to temper it. Now that basically means we're just going to take little dollops of our sour cream yogurt mixture and slowly incorporate that into our hot gelatin. And that's basically just going to ensure that the gelatin doesn't get all streaky. Because if we were to add all of this right into our cold yogurt mixture, it would immediately solidify and you'd have streaks of gelatin and it would be really gross. So temper it. Now the last thing we need to do for our filling is fold in our whipped cream and at the very end our blackberries. We can set our filling aside for now while we prep our cake tin. Now the cake baked absolutely perfect once again, so we're going to just quickly remove this from our tin and give our tin a quick wash to make sure that there's no crumbs everywhere when we get to layering. Now to layer this, we're going to of course need our cooled off dough as well as our filling. And I'm also going to be adding 100 grams of blackberry jam that I've slightly heated up in the microwave, and that's just going to make it a little bit more spreadable. So I'm just going to start by adding my blackberry jam layer right onto my dough before adding my filling. This can already wander into the fridge while we get our glaze ready. Now for the glaze, I'm going to be using 1 package of Glaze, but if you don't have that, you can just use 1 to 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, as well as 250 milliliters of water, and for flavor and color, we're going to be using 50 grams of our blackberry jam. Now, if you find that your jam isn't very sweet, you can always add in 1 to 2 tablespoons of sugar, but I personally think it's sweet enough, so I'm just going to leave it at these 3 ingredients. Now, making the glaze is super easy. Essentially, all we're doing is adding all 3 ingredients into a pot and then bringing that up to a boil. Now, as this comes up to a boil, it's going to start thickening up and starting to get a lot more clear in color, and that's when you know it's ready. Now that our glaze is nice and thick, we're just going to transfer it to a different container, and that's just going to help it cool down a little bit faster. Now you just want to let this cool off for about 5 to 10 minutes before pouring it onto the top of your cake. Our cake now has to wander back into the fridge for at least 4 to 6 hours, but ideally overnight, which is what I'm going to do. So I will see you tomorrow when we finish decorating this cake. Welcome to day 2 of our raspberry yogurt slices. So we're going to start today by just carefully removing it from our tin. Now you can cut this into as many or as few slices or squares as you want, but I think I'm going to try and get out 8 even slices. Now you can leave your yogurt slices just the way that they are, or you can do a little bit of piping and add some decorations, which is what I'm going to do. So for that, I just whipped up about 150 milliliters of heavy whipping cream with 2 teaspoons of sugar and a splash of vanilla for flavor. And then for the decor, I'm going to be using those blackberries that we set aside yesterday, as well as a couple naked almonds and a couple mint leaves. Now once again, you can be as creative with this as you want. Now I've made a couple different slices already on my channel. That was the cappuccino slices and the mandarin slices. So there's a little bit of inspo there already for you on how to decorate them. But I think this time around, I'm just going to add 3 little dollops with my spiky piping tip. And within each of those dollops, I'm just going to add one of my toppings. And there you have it, our beautiful blackberry yogurt slices. So that's going to be everything for today's video. If you enjoyed it, you can give it a thumbs up or write me a comment down below. And as always, the whole recipe is going to be in the description box as well.